Hello all. So topic that I have chosen today is introduction to financial management. So when I tell the term finance, it deals with the money management. So this topic that I'm discussing is in second year BCom Banking and Insurance course, which is there. So under Mumbai University. So, introduction to financial management. Let us quickly have a look at few definitions of financial management. So, financial management deals with planning of funds, raising funds, and it deals with planning of funds, raising of funds, and controlling and administration of funds. So basically, we are trying to do all the activities related to funds or money in an organization. The second thing is, the second definition says that it is a judicious use of capital and a careful selection of source of capital. So we are trying to find out where to use the money, and we are trying to find out from where will we get the money. That's what second definition says. The third one says it is responsible for obtaining and effectively utilizing the funds. It again says from where will we raise money and how effectively and more profitably can we employ this fund, where can we utilize this fund. So it brings two aspects of funds. One is demand for funds, and then we have to manage the supply of funds. Now, in an organization, when I say the funds have been demanded, so which all areas will we require funds? We may require funds for long-term basis. We may require funds for short-term basis. So long-term basis of funds requirement means for buying machine or for buying plant, setting up new, plant, or undertaking modernization of a particular plant, or undertaking new product development. All these things will require, all these are the demand for funds. On a working capital basis, on a day-to-day basis, you may require to pay the wages, electricity bills, the traveling conveyance, the petty cash expenses. All these type of expenses will require money. So that is about demand for funds. Now coming towards the supply of funds. Supply of funds now will, from where will the money come into the organization? Again, two types. One is long term, another one is short term. I mean, one is recurring, another one is one time inflows of fund. So recurring means we know, every one of us know that sales will get generated, and hence over a period of time it will keep giving us inflows of funds. But when I say for sales to get generated, you may require some amount of capital in it to be invested so that the sales get generated. So in that particular case, the supply of funds can come either in the form of borrowed funds or in the form of owned funds. So borrowed funds may be from financial institutions, from banks, from maybe venture capitalists, etc. And own funds can come in the form of equity, in the form of preference shares. Again, venture capitalists can give you equity investments also. So many types of supply of funds. But the main crux is we need to manage both demand side as well as supply side of funds. This brings us to three major areas in financial management. One being assessment of financial needs. You need to identify how much money I will require. Then you need to identify from where will I get all this money. Then once you have identified the source of funds, the application of funds, then you need to find out where, how I will utilize this money, what will be my modus of operandi, how will I use and control the funds that I have. Now, to give you an example, many a times it happens that we get money from the bank for a particular purpose, but some urgent needs come up, and end up utilizing that funds in those needs rather than the said need for which we have withdrawn the money. So in order to that it should not happen, use and control of funds is equally important. Now, See, there are dual objectives. Now, there is a tiff between two things. One is procurement of fund, another one is utilization of fund. Now, if I say procurement of funds is one of the basic objectives of financial management, and then utilization of fund is another objective of financial management. Procurement of funds, when I say, it means taking loans or issuing debentures or issuing equity. As a business person, I would always want that the procurement of funds should happen at the cheapest possible price. It means if I go and ask for loan from a bank, I would prefer a bank which is giving me loan at 5% interest rather than a bank which is giving me loan at 7 or 8% interest, right? So cheaper the procurement of funds, the better it is for the organization. Why am I saying so? Because if you have funds available at a cheaper rate, so say if you have taken loan for a year at 5% interest, 100 rupee loan for 5% interest, it means at the end of the year you need to have more than 105 rupees so that you can make some profit. If same loan you might have taken at say 10% interest, you would have earned you would have to pay 100 plus 10, that is 110. It means you will start making profit after 110 rupees. So the cheaper the sources of funds, the better it is for the organization. Now, coming towards the utilization of funds. Ideally, an organization should utilize funds wherein it will give maximum benefit to the organization. So, when I'm saying maximum benefit, think about a fixed deposit. If I go and make a fixed deposit in the bank, which bank will you prefer? A bank giving you 8% or a bank giving you 5%? I think we all know that a bank which gives you 8% will be better for you for investment. Same goes with the organization. If you are utilizing funds, you need to utilize for the said purpose, which will give you maximum return. So if there are two products, one may give me a return of say 10% on my capital employed, another gives me a return of 12% on the capital employed, I should launch 12% product first instead of 10% for the product. So that's how it is. So there are two major important functions in it. One is procurement of fund, that is at cheapest cost, and utilization of fund for maximum benefits. Now, so this brings to what all things do we have to undertake when we study financial management. We need to see whether profit maximization is happening or not. We need to see whether cost is minimizing or not. Basically, but it will relate to funds. So maximizing profit, invest in a fund which gives invest in a option which gives you maximum return, or procure the funds which will cost you minimum. Of course, sales maximization, one of the important thing that is there is liquidity management, maintenance of adequate liquidity so that we don't have to rush to bank for creating liquidity in terms of bank OD or cash credits, etc. Then keeping shareholders satisfied by creating value for them, this is very important. In long run, we will try to create value for the shareholders, which is again, it's extremely important. We'll see it in due course of time. Next. So whenever we tell the term financial management, you will always have, there are two approaches related to financial management. One is profit maximization, another one is wealth maximization. Let us quickly have a look at what is profit maximization. So profit maximization means it is a concept which has the main objective concerns with earn larger amount of profits, keep earning larger and larger amount of profit. The time frame is short because we generally calculate profit for a period of 1 year. So the time frame for this approach is generally short term, one year, one year. Every time 1 year we will consider. No consideration to risk and uncertainty. Minimum considerations are given. Say for example, some upcoming risk in the business is there, so you may not develop the product accordingly just because you're focusing on short term benefits. It focuses on operational efficiency of the organization. Operational efficiency means the day-to-day functioning of the organization should be better and it should function properly. That's what it is focusing on. Bold decisions which may be painful in short run but gainful in long run is generally avoided. So for example, product development related expenses related to research and development. Research and development maybe is done for a period of say 4 year 5 years, and then once it will give you some kind of benefit, that's also not certain. So organizations which focus on profit maximization may not undertake those kind of expenses because in the profit is not certain. It may happen that over a period of long period of time, these organizations become redundant and uncompetitive. That is very much possible. Few positive and negatives of profit maximization. As I said, it is economical survival. So if you're a new organization, you can't expect you to be wealth oriented and very focused. First instinct is to get the survival. I should survive the business for me to develop products, etc. So economic survival, yes, if your aim is to economically somehow survive in the business, this is the approach that we can use. Measurement standard, so it's a basic standard like how much profit one organization is making vis-a-vis other organization. That's how this profit standard is there. So it's a standard format to compare any organization across the industry. So that is there. Now, social welfare, they say social welfare and economic welfare, they say that if organization make more profit, if they are more profitable in nature, generally this profit they will reinvest in the business, and it will in turn generate more employment, more income, more expenditure, and the cycle will go on. So many times they say profit maximization is good because it will ultimately lead to economic welfare, which will lead to the social welfare. Now, some of the demerits of having this approach is, first thing is, it is a haze concept. So when we study financial vertical financial sheet, we all know that there are profits at every after every expense. There is a new type of profit that we get. So we get gross profit, we get operating profits, we get net profit before interest and tax, we get net profit after interest and tax, then net profit after tax itself, then you keep getting profits available for appropriation. So when I say the term profit maximization, the concept of which profit are you trying to maximize is not clear. So depending upon where in the organization I am, if I am a production manager, I would want that gross profit should be good. If I'm a say sales manager, I would want that operating profits should be good. If I'm a lender, I would want your EBIT to be extremely high. So we don't know exactly which profit they are trying to maximize. The next one is it ignores time value of money. So basically it does not, maybe over a period of time you will get extremely high benefit, but that aspect is not considered. We are having survival, economic survival is the important, and we consider that to be important. Then the third one being ignores risk. It ignores risk which are involved in businesses. they are not trying to find out upcoming opportunities or upcoming threats which are there in business, maybe a competitor, maybe a very good product as compared to our product. So these things are not generally focused on when we have a profit maximization approach, and it ignores the quality of a quality aspect. As I said, research and development, quality improvement, product development, these are things which will require income. So what they do, which will require a huge amount of investment. So what these organizations may do is they will avoid it, or may make minuscule investment in quality control and aspects like that. So in a way, profit maximization is very short-sighted concept. The next one being wealth maximization. Now, when I say wealth maximization, so the main concept of wealth maximization is it will want you to have ultimate goal of the concern is to improve the market value of the shares. So what are we trying to do? We are trying to improve the market value of the share. So if you have, we all have heard stories of, if in 19, say in 2000 year, you might have invested in Infosys, you might have got so much of return by now. So or if you would have invested in Coca-Cola, over a period of time the capital would have grown say 100 or 1000 times more. So this is nothing but improvement in market value of the shares. The share prices will improve, and that will give you more benefit than the profit maximization approach. So they say that wealth maximization is basically a long-term objective. It considers risk and uncertainty. It focuses on gaining large market share over a period of time. Bold decisions which are painful maybe in short run, but gainful which is in long run is generally taken under this. Let us, so this is basic concept. Let us quickly have a look at its positive, negative. So wealth maximization, there are few merits and demerits of wealth maximization. So merits being the investors which invest in these type of companies are focused on quality, and hence they know that it will give return maybe over a period of time, not now. So they are stable investors, investors who seek value. Now, for example, companies like companies like, say, Byju's, or company Byju tutorials which are there, companies like Ola, Uber. These companies, we never knew before they came that these concepts can also be so much in demand and such a high value. So generally wealth maximization is when initially you should have that foresightedness to see whether this company can do well or not in long run. So they focus on capital appreciation. We all know, we all might have heard of unicorn companies, right? So companies that are extremely high in terms of valuation. So we focus, one of the companies is like in the past was Infosys. So Infosys over a period of time has gone through so much of capital appreciation. So if you see, if you keep even calculate the dividends that you got, it might be very small as compared to the capital appreciation of the shares that has happened. Then higher returns in long run. In long run, if you see a capital appreciation and higher, if you see that, calculate that returns, then it will be definitely higher on the amount that you might have invested. Risky decisions are generally taken. So bold decisions like maybe like going for 4G in the telecom sector. It's a risky decision. We don't know how the customers will take it, but it was taken, that decision. So risky decisions, bold decisions, these are taken. So a lot of experimentation is done. Now, the problem is it may get disoriented if not managed properly. So the problem with experiments is you never know the outcomes of it. So it can happen good, it can go bad also. So that can create a bit of an issue in wealth maximization approach. So what is wealth maximization approach ultimately trying to do? They are ultimately trying to create value for the shareholders of the organization, not only in terms of profits, but also in terms of creating value in terms of the share price appreciation. So when you have wealth maximization in your in your organization, or the approaches of wealth maximization, what happens is over a period of time you will take those decisions which will make you ahead in competition. It will help you achieve targets, it will help you achieve strategic positions in the organization, I mean, in the entire industry. And that is why they say that wealth maximization is a better approach as compared to profit maximization. Now, there are two approaches in financial management. So it's like what was done in the past, the traditional approach, and what is done in the future, the modern approach. So, traditional approach, the person were more focused on how to get the funds, how the funds will get procured. Procurement of fund was the only concern. Where it is employed, how it is employed was not given so much thought. And even if it was what's given, it was only for big decisions like buying of plant machinery, these kind of big decisions. So procurement also for a huge quantity, and deployment also of huge quantity. Under modern approach, one is procurement of fund is of course under focus, but equal importance is given to where the funds will be invested and where the working capital will take, how the working capital funds are managed. So it is not only procurement and investment of long term funds, but we also give equal importance to the procurement and investment of short term funds, that is working capital fund. So these are two basic approaches under modern and traditional approach of financial management. So as a financial manager, we have to take three types of decisions, sorry: investment decisions, financing decisions, and dividend decisions. So investment decisions, financing decision, investment decision means where will I invest the money? How profitably can I invest the money? Financing decision, from where will I raise the money at the cheapest possible cost? Dividend decision, how much money should I give to the shareholders now that they are happy with the dividend? I mean, not happy, they are satisfied with the amount of return that they are getting on their capital. And how much should I not pay and invest in some other good opportunities which are coming up, which ultimately will lead to the goal of wealth maximization. Some qualities required for a finance manager. These are two major roles, treasurer versus controller. So any financial management department will have these two major roles which are there. So the treasurer is basically, he is the one who is the uh, face of the organization for the outside world. So he is the one who is dealing with all the people, financial institutions, maybe the shareholders, and all these people who are involved in giving capital to the organization. So his basic role is managing the fund, managing cash management, etc. Whereas controller is responsible for accounting, preparing financial, basically the accounting and administration part of utilization of fund.